Today's date is March 29th, 1994. I'm Blake Hailey, and we're pleased to have with us Mr. Greg McQueen, the Assistant to the Vice President for Health Affairs and Executive Dean. We're making this video in the Biomed Communications Department of the Gibson D. Lewis Library at the University of North Texas Health Science Center at Fort Worth. And after going through that spiel, Mr. McQueen, thanks for being with us today, taking time out of your schedule. If I could ask you to go back to your prior background before you came to the Health Science Center and some of your activities that you were involved in.
Okay, before coming to Fort Worth, I was in Toronto, Canada at the Health Sciences Center in Toronto, and I was there as the Associate Dean of the Health Sciences Center, and the area that I managed was the allied health area. I was there for some 16 years. I had an opportunity with the dean of the school. The two of us came together at that point in time, and we had an opportunity to build the school from approximately 62 students when we started and about 640 graduates per year when we left.
Quite an accomplishment.
Well, it was a fun time. It was dynamic, and the institution was growing rapidly, and there was a lot of opportunities, a good number of opportunities for development initiatives and new ventures, which consumed a great deal of energy, people's energies and time, creativity, and very exciting time for me.
What were some other things that you were involved in now? At that point, you had some international relations at that point that you started.
Yes, we did a fair amount of work. There was a consortium of some 80 colleges, and as a member of that consortium, we became more involved in international education and moved into the field of writing grants for foreign governments to do international work, and then particularly development work in health sectors. We had a large project that we actually finished up when we came here to Fort Worth with the Indonesian government, and it was a multi-million-dollar project that was devoted to redesigning and revamping their allied health programs, their organization, administration, and curriculum. So that was an exciting thing for us to be doing, and it was something that I was able to bring here with me. And the last 2 years ago, we completed some fellowship programs here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, in which we brought in a group of Indonesian students. We had students at that point in time in northern United States, in Britain, and Canada, and here in Fort Worth. So that was quite a challenge and very interesting.
What brought you to the Health Science Center all the way from Canada?
Well, at that time, I was actually I was down here on vacation and visiting some friends, and somebody had mentioned to me about the medical school, and I came over and visited it, and they were looking for someone to fill the present position. They had not had someone in this position prior to my arrival, and I found it intriguing. The institution looked to me as if it was an institution that was about to grow and expand. That was similar to the exciting times that I'd spent in Toronto, and I think what had happened in Toronto as the institution grew, it became evident that I had been successful in hiring a large number of department chairmen who were very capable. And so one of the consequences of making good decisions about good hires is that you have good people and they need you less and less. And I found that I had more time to do international work and in some ways missed the development work. And the institution here has provided me since my coming with that opportunity to work back in the development field and help nurture an institution that has exciting potential and is growing.
What were some of the things that you've been involved in that regard since you've been here to get the institution on the path that it's on?
Well, I remember one of the first things that I was asked to participate in, I think I was here about a month, and it became evident in that year that we might have some concerns regarding the number of students that we were able to bring into the institution that year. That was a time when enrollments in medical schools were dropping off, and so I had a chance to facilitate a group of people that put together a plan and then implemented a plan for attracting students, potential students, and then nurturing their relationship and eventually helping them find their way here to the institution. And it was a lot of fun to come and do that right away and work with a group very committed to doing that. And it was even more fun because we were able to bring together 100 students that wanted to be here that year.
What year was this?
That would be 5 years ago.
Oh, about 89 probably?
Yeah,
okay.
I think it was 88, 89, right in that transition. So that was one of the first things that I was involved with. Right now, we're working to putting together, since the school has gone through its transition to become a health sciences center. The institution, once it became a health sciences center and it was well known in the public sector, there were a lot of inquiries regarding what we might be doing in allied health or health professions education. And one of my recent tasks has been to explore that and try to piece together an initial outline of some of the areas that this institution should at least consider exploring. That's led me to interact with most of the medical schools or health sciences centers where allied health programs are located. And our next stage is starting to talk with community colleges and the coordinating board and other institutions that are involved in producing health professionals to try to piece together a game plan and a plan of action that would lead this institution into the development area of allied health programs. Of course, with the Clinton Health Plan, whether that's successful or whatever health plan is successful, clearly a new healthcare system is going to demand more mid-level health care practitioners and a variety of health professionals that are either in great demand now or haven't actually come into play into the system yet.
So we're on the edge then of positioning ourselves for some changes then in good shape. I mean, as far as these changes, we'll be able to weather them okay.
That's certainly our hope. Our hope is that we're already in a good position in that the institution has become one of the top producers of primary care physicians in the country, and that it's our sense that there's going to be an increased demand for health professionals, allied health professionals that interact in a primary care environment, in an ambulatory care environment that's decentralized. So we think that our initiatives will help us make that transition and build on the strong strength that we have in primary care already.
So Allied Health is the next program you're looking at adding then, it sounds like.
Well, Allied Health, in a sense, is a whole cluster of programs.
Oh, okay.
So within Allied Health, there might be a physician assistant program, there might be a physical therapy program, or others yet to be identified. And our goal would be to identify what cluster of programs we ought to be developing that meet or closely link with the resources of the institution and match the needs of the community. And in this case, the community is Tarrant County, the Metroplex, and North Central Texas.
Has there been a lot of community support, do you think, for the Health Science Center? Is there ways that could be helped along a little bit?
Well, I think there have been a number of visible supports for the Health Sciences Center. Certainly, the legislators who designated it as such recognized its need to grow and the expanded contribution it could make. I think as we become a health sciences center, the communities such as Diamond Hill, Stop 6, the public health departments, the hospital district, is coming to see that the Health Sciences Center has more to offer the community as its role expands. Its ability to better serve the community will grow with that.
And back in '89, when you came here, was there growing support for a health science center? Were you real interested in moving that along, or was that even being discussed back then?
Well, when I first arrived, it was in the long-range plans for the institution, and it was clearly mentioned several times in the mission statements and the planning documents that as I was trying to decide whether or not I wanted to come here, I took special note of that. So yes, there was planning for it. It was an idea that was growing at that time, and it was certainly an idea that attracted me here.
You said that you have talked with other health science centers and looked at them as far as their allied health programs are going. How do you see this health science center being different from the others that you've talked with in the state or perhaps nationally?
Well, there probably will be more similarities than there are differences. Certainly a unique factor, if I could call it that, would be that there will be an immense emphasis on primary care, so that, for example, physician assistant programs is a physician assistant program is something that the institution has the resources, capabilities to mount, and it's also something that the community, urban communities and rural communities that we interact with could benefit from, and it closely links with the primary care focus. So primary care is not unique in allied health schools, but the fact that you would find a medical school and a health sciences center that would already understand the importance and role of primary care may be not unique, but different than many other environments where allied health programs aren't necessarily well understood by their medical school partners or the university at large.
You don't see this changing the mission in much of the school as far as the primary care, it becoming a health science center, adding these schools?
No, I personally believe that the healthcare system is moving in the direction of primary care. The medical school moved in that direction from its inception, and the addition of allied health schools or public health initiatives are so clearly focused in allied health that they will simply be an extension of the medical school mission and an expansion and an extension of the health sciences mission and vision.
What are some of the next steps that you plan to do in regards to the allied health schools and so forth?
Well, we're in the process of putting together a planning council, which would then be augmented by a number of advisory groups. The advisory groups would be program related. The overall council would be a group of individuals that are interested in facilitating the expansion of the Health Sciences Center, and a group of individuals that represent various sectors of the healthcare delivery system or educational institutions within the area, so that we're looking to have representation from the Dallas-Fort Worth Hospital Council, local hospitals, public health, community college agencies that are committed to allied health or health profession education, and other associations or groups that are interested in facilitating the expansion of allied health programs that would meet the needs of the communities that we're attempting to serve.
Do you plan to do some more work with the international aspect as you're advancing? I mean, will you have time to do some more of that while you're
Well,
bringing...
that's a problem for us in terms of as the institution is rapidly growing. International opportunities are there, but we're not always able to access them because we're so caught up in an expansion and growth period. But there are some opportunities. We've just finished signing an affiliation agreement with Masaryk University in Brno, which is in the Czech Republic, and we're looking to expand some of our activities through the pharmacology department with that medical school. The affiliation agreement that we then sign with the medical school will help us do that, and that opens up another area of opportunity. We're looking to visit with them shortly. They've had people here already. That's a unique experience because, not unique, but certainly different, I think, in many ways. We were contacted by the medical school in the Czech Republic, and they wanted to pursue a relationship because they were so familiar with the institution's research in pharmacology. The pharmacology department has an international reputation, and the Czech Republic was well aware of that, the medical school in the Czech Republic. So they contacted us, and I think that was a pretty good indication of some of the potential that resides in the institution, and it was certainly a nice complement to the pharmacology department.
Are there some other universities in the countries that you would like to pursue at some maybe later date, some programs with?
Collaborative programs is certainly something that we see as a wave of the future in terms of the new healthcare system coming into place, institutions, especially institutions of higher education and medical schools, health sciences centers, trying to maximize the use of their resources, whether they be staff or finances. And one way to do that is through collaborative ventures. We've just recently submitted a federal grant, which is an area health education center training grant, which, if funded, would support a huge initiative in rural health. That initiative is a collaborative agreement between the Health Sciences Center here, Southwest Medical Center, Texas and Texas A&M Medical School, plus 9 other health sciences or health-related programs such as the UTA Nursing School in Arlington. So that I think that's an indication of the way business is probably going to be most successfully conducted in the future, where you have 3 medical schools working together, which is not the common way of doing business. Unusual to see medical schools collaborate in that manner.
Usually they're, I guess, out to get their own things done and not necessarily work together, but it sounds like that's a good thing, though, as far as the medical schools go.
I think so. Historically, medical schools and many institutions have paid a great deal of attention to their own local areas and their own local interests. I think as funds become more difficult to obtain, it's clear that institutions, certainly medical schools, are going to need to look at one another and see how they could help each other expand. Probably one of the best examples that's on the horizon for us is Texas Tech, the Health Sciences Center there, has a responsibility through their original AHEC grant, which is some years old now.
AHEC is
it's an area health education center.
Okay.
And that's a federally funded grant. Texas Tech had one of those in which they it expanded almost to Fort Worth from Texas Tech in West Texas. They were unable to penetrate the geographical center between Fort Worth and their location, so that we're looking at a possible cooperative venture with Texas Tech and ourselves in which we would try to penetrate into those rural areas that are between us, that neither one of us could reach alone, but together we might be able to establish something in those rural areas that would be effective.
So the sign of the times is moving more toward collaborations then.
That's certainly our sense of where healthcare is going to have to move, and those that wish to succeed in the new evolving healthcare system are going to have to find new and innovative ways to collaborate.
How do you see your role changing in the next few years, or perhaps even sooner than that?
My personal role, or the role of the institution?
Well, how about your personal role first, and then?
Well, I think as the allied health programs go on, that I see my role changing slightly there. We're going to need some resources there in terms of people to move that initiative ahead, and for a while facilitating that startup and growth will be something that I will probably be asked to usher along. Once that's in place, it's my hope that that will take on a life of its own and grow. I'm certainly seeing right now, as the medical school puts together a new mission, or a refined mission and a refined vision as to how it wants to proceed into the next years in terms of how it can better contribute to the changing healthcare system, that I believe that my work in development over the years might be of benefit to those programs that will be identified, need to be nurtured and spin off and grow on their own. I anticipate that I'll have some involvement in those and look forward to that. As I mentioned earlier, one of the things I enjoy most is doing that type of development work, and it's always nice to do it within your own institution.
So you see yourself going back to doing a little bit more of that than you've been able to do here recently?
I think so. I think if we progress along the stages that along the path that we're on now, the stages of development will come into place.
You mentioned that the collaboration between university, health science centers, and so on has coming into play a little bit more in the coming future. Do you see the role changing of the school in other ways?
Well, I think that you'll see that the school, depending on which sectors are expanded, but I think as the Health Sciences Center becomes more diverse, I think what you will see is the community, and by community I mean Tarrant County, North Central Texas, and probably the state, we'll start to see the Health Sciences Center in new and different ways. For example, I think it's clear that in terms of research, in terms of community development, in terms of a facility or resource that can contribute to the growth of the healthcare system in Tarrant County, this institution will be seen more and more as a place where people can come and find resources, find consultation, find help, find some of that support mechanism that will help them determine what health care needs to be doing in the future in, for example, Tarrant County. So I see the institution becoming more of a resource to those communities and to the professions that they're trying to service.
Do you see some possible collaborations with a bit more with UNT up in Denton as a possibility?
I think that clearly as the Health Sciences Center expands, that there's more opportunities to do that. I think one of the things that one finds as one strives to identify and nurture health professions or allied health programs, the researchers in that field, the literature in that field will tell you that the health sciences, or I'm sorry, the allied health programs or health professional initiatives need to be located in an area where there is a core of programs, so that you can't take a physician assistant program and have it operate where it's not surrounded by other health professionals. So I think what you will see is health profession programs will start to be clustered at the Health Sciences Center and will therefore be positioned to interact more closely with not only the Health Sciences Center, but the health facilities, ambulatory care clinics, hospitals that surround the Health Sciences Center. All that to say that that may open the door and usher in an era where health-related programming that's done at the North Campus might be better served housed here in Fort Worth. Those expansion of new programs will also create new opportunities for the university in terms of programs that the university would run, such as the pre-hospital or pre-health professional programs they run now. There should be a much larger demand for those programs at the university, should be a larger flow of students into those university programs in Denton, with the anticipation that those graduates would then move into health professional areas and graduate work here in Fort Worth.
Oh, so there's quite a bit of room for growth then and expansion in that regard.
Very much so.
We've covered a lot of ground here. Mr. McQueen, are there some things you'd like to bring up that we haven't mentioned?
Well, we've covered, as you say, a lot of ground, all the way from international allied health and the medical school. No, I don't think so. I think we've covered pretty well everything.
You're one of the first people we've been able to go into the international aspect with. We've covered quite a bit of things, and I do appreciate you taking time out of your extremely busy schedule to meet with us. I know you got a conference call this morning and all, and again, thank you for taking the time out to meet with us. And I know you have been and will continue to be a very important part of the school and the Health Science Center, and I know that the community and the school owe you a lot for coming here and serving. Thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And with that, we'll bring to a close this interview. Thank you and have a nice day.